this video is going to be a really chatty, really chatty, sort of get ready with me video on this look that I'm wearing right now. I've just finished filming, and the reason that I'm doing this look is because I recently did a video where I used this bronzer, which I bought specifically for that video, and I tested out a bunch of sort of more kind of Western styles and techniques and stuff, like baking and the bronzer and contouring and stuff like that, and it's not my usual style and stuff, so it was kind of an experiment, kind of tested that out, but it meant that I have this bronzer, I have it now, so I didn't want it to go to waste. So these last few days I've been sort of trying to find a way to use it, and I think I found a way. This is the end result that I've come up with, the way that I can use this bronzer and still appreciate it. I think that a lot of the time when people do kind of bronzy, tanny kind of makeup, it doesn't really turn out to look cute necessarily, and I think a lot of the time when people try to look cute, it doesn't look bronzy. I just think that they're two separate things kind of that a lot of people don't tend to mix that much, but I thought that I'm gonna mix it today. I'm gonna see how it comes out. So I was inspired by owning this bronzer, and I was also inspired by, the other day I was watching some interviews with 21, which is a Korean music group, which is my favorite group ever, and one of the members is called Park Bom, and she was doing this interview, and it was around the time when they released I Love You, their single, and she had a really sort of golden, bronzy makeup look with a pink lip, and I thought that it was just so nice, and I wanted to see if I could do something a little bit similar. This isn't like a tutorial for that look that she's wearing, but I just thought I'd do it a little bit similar. And yeah, I was just sort of inspired by it. So this is what I've come up with. So I really hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye! Okay, hi guys, I'm here, and I'm going to start off with the makeup. So I've already washed my face and moisturized, so I'm going to do some primer. So I'm using this primer today. Just a tiny note on this primer. Can we see this little list of stuff that it does? It says it smooths, and then it says it resurfaces, which is the same thing. And then it says it brightens, and then it says it mattifies, which doesn't really make that much sense, I don't think. And then it says it protects. So really, it says it's 5 in 1, but it's like maximum 3 in 1. Gimmicky marketing techniques are not the point of this video, so I'm just gonna put the primer on. Got a blob. Gonna dot it around my fez. And then smooth it in. Smoothie smooth. Okay, now I'm gonna use this primer. Hello, focus. Hello, there we go. I'm gonna use this one on my more troubling areas. I will be mixing the Sleek Illuminator in the shade Monaco with my 24-hour matte infallible foundation. Now I'm only going to put this on sort of my cheek. I'm going to put it everywhere apart from the highlighted parts of my face. So apart from like underneath my eyes here where I want it to be a bit brighter, down my nose, Cupid's bow, and a little bit on my chin. I'm going to put it everywhere apart from those places because I want to do as little layers as I possibly can, and I'll be putting a lighter foundation on these bits just so that I don't have a layer of foundation and then a layer of lighter foundation. I'm just going to mix these two. Make sure that this is thoroughly mixed, otherwise it'll end up being quite patchy where you've got like lumps of illuminator, and then we don't want that. We don't want it to be patchy, so really make sure it's all nicely mixed in. I know it's a little bit weird that I'm using a matte foundation and then an illuminator with it, but the reason being that I kind of need a matte foundation because my skin's oily. Oh, this is so cold. This sponge is so cold. The water's gone cold in it. what was I saying? Yeah, I've got oily skin, so I tend to, in order for the makeup not to run off my face and like melt off, I kind of need a matte foundation. But for this particular look, I want it to be glowy, so I don't really like to buy a glowy foundation. I just like to add my own glow exactly where I want it. So as you can see, I'm not putting it under my eyes. I'm just going to put it on like the main bit of my cheek, covering all this up. This, by the way, is a new necklace that I got from New Look. I can't work out whether I like it or not. Like, I saw it in the shop and it was so cute, and it was on sale and it was only £2, so I got it. I've put it. I think it's supposed to be a choker, so it's supposed to be like here, but I find that it just looks like it's like on my chin. It looks like I got a little pom-pom on my chin, so I kind of pull it down a little bit. So I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but it was so cute and I bought it, and I can't return it because it was in the sale, so it's mine now. I'm gonna wear it as much as I can. So you can see I'm not gonna put it like pretty much in a line down my face. I'm not putting this foundation there, but I am gonna put it on the sides of my nose. Yeah, I personally like to do as little layers as I possibly can, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So that's that done. And now I'm going to go on with this lighter foundation. You can see that this is much lighter. And again with the illuminator as well. A bit on my sponge and then dab it. Oh, that's a weird shape. That's what she said. Down my nose. Cupid's bow. On my chin. There's nothing on my sponge anymore, but I'm still going over kind of everywhere else, just to really blend it out and make sure that it's all meshes in with the rest of my skin, so that I don't look like I've got a block here and then a block a different colour. I'm gonna put any remaining stuff on my eyelids in preparation for eyeshadow. Whilst we are in the cream products, I'm gonna go in with just this illuminator now. So much illuminator being used, but I'm just going to use this and put it a little bit more precisely on the bits that I want to be even glowier. So just like there, pretty much on the very highest points. Blend it out. Blend it even up there a tiny little bit. Like there's nothing on my sponge anymore, I'm just blending out at this point. You see, that's just even more highlighted there. Once I put powder on, this will tone down a little bit, but hopefully not too much. On my Cupid's bow and on my chin, a tiny bit on my chin. I don't really want my chin to be that highlighted because I feel like that might just look a little bit oily, but also down my nose. Blendy blend blend. Beautiful. Whilst we are still on the cream products, I'm going to do some concealing, and this is something that I actually did like out of the Bronzy video that I did. It's this Soap & Glory Kick-Ass Concealer. It's a really thick consistency, but if you use it on a precise brush, just very sparingly on your blemishes, then it does a good job, and I actually do like it. Just exactly where I want it, and then blend it out a tiny bit with my fingers. I'm not really that bothered about making my skin flawless, just, you know, improving it a little bit. Might as well right now because I have the time. Usually if I'm doing this like in a morning getting ready, then I probably won't do this because I can't be bothered. But seems as though I'm doing it for a tutorial, might as well do it because it's a tutorial. And then I'm going to use the salmon shade under my eyes a little bit. Try and counteract that darkness with a bit of a salmony colour, like that. And I'm going to use the Real Technique sponge to blend that out a little bit, because it's so thick that for under your eyes it's a little bit too thick, I think, for under your eyes. So I'm going to use the sponge to blend it out rather than my fingers, because I don't want to be rubbing around my eyes. I don't want to stretch my delicate eye area too much. Apply it just very directly to where any blueness is under my eyes, any darkness, and then blend it with the sponge. At this point I'm going to do something with my eyebrows, and I'm not going to do much because you don't really see my eyebrows because of my fringe, but all I'm going to do is with this clear brow gel, I'm just going to comb them through in my natural shape, make them a little bit neater. My eyebrows are never going to be that neat because I don't do anything with them, but just to neaten them up a tiny bit. So whilst my face is drying down as much as it will, I'm not going to put any powders on yet, I'm going to let it dry as much as it will. I'm going to move on to my eyes. And then I'm going to use a primer. Oops. And I'm just going to dot that on there. Dot that on, use my finger to smooth it down all over the eyelid. Then I'm going to go in with this big brush and this neutral shade, pretty much my skin tone, just a little bit off. I'm going to make sure it's blended, is it blended? And then pat this on. Put sort of a lot of this on, make sure that it's totally dry. So next I'm going to go in with this bronzer that I bought, and I'm going to go in with this sort of pointy round brush, and I'm going to use this as my crease shade / transition shade, that kind of thing. Starting off like just putting a tiny little bit on the brush and then eventually building it up, rather than putting a lot on the brush first. Just add tiny amounts at a time so that the blending is a lot smoother. Then with a more precise brush, I'm going to go in with the brown shade, really in the crease, to define the crease a little bit more. It's nothing too definey, like I'm not adding a black or anything like that, it's still just a neutral brown colour. And I'm just blending it out with the fluffy brush again, but just to add a little bit more depth. Now I'm going to use my finger and this shade again, and I'm going to really kind of put it on my lid, make sure that I really pack it on with my finger. And then I'm going to go in with the white shade, or you just use a shade that's even lighter than your skin tone. For me, I'm going to have to use white because that's the only thing light enough. And I'm going to put it right on top, on the kind of the highest point on my eye. But I'm going to just use a fluffy blush to kind of lightly disperse it, so it's not too intense, because I don't want my eyes to be too intense or anything like that. Just want it to be a nice little bit of a gradient going on. Now, very, very close to my lash line, as close as I can get it, I'm going to put a tiny, tiny bit of black. Like, honestly, like the tiniest amount of a tiny bit of black. And then I'm going to go, this is just, you can see, just a tiny little bit right on the lash line. This is more of a grey, to be honest, rather than a black, because it's not totally pigmented. And the reason I'm doing this is to just darken my lash line a little bit, because I'm not going to be doing any eyeliner. So I just want a little bit of definition here. but not too much because I don't want it to turn into a smoky eye or anything. And then I'm going to go over it with the brown so that you can't really tell that I've put black there. I want people to think it's just a dark brown. Possibly even put a little bit, that's gone a little bit further up than I hoped. I'm sorry about that, didn't mean to do that. It's a little bit difficult doing makeup as well as I can do makeup whilst I'm filming, because the mirror has to be somewhat far away from me. Usually when I'm doing my makeup, the mirror's like here, but because I need to be in the frame for the camera and stuff, it's a little bit more difficult. And then I'm going to go in with the brown on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to put it, you know, connect these two lines, if you can see that. I've got a line going here and I've got this little bit here, and I'm just going to connect them a little bit. And then in circular motions, just kind of blend it out a little bit. Now I'm going to take the bronzer again, dip my fluffy brush into it, and then go a little bit underneath my eyes. Just a tiny bit underneath there to create a bit of a shadow, because naturally you do have a bit of a shadow there, so I'm just going to add that shadow back in. I'm going to use two different eyeliners for my waterline. This one first by Essence. This is the Say Highlight colour. Yeah. Put it in this inner corner, on the bottom half of my inner corner. And I'm going to pull my skin down a tiny bit and put it over the top there on this inner bit of my waterline. Can you see on this corner here, my waterline goes up here, but I'm going to put it kind of in a straight line across. So I'm almost going to go over my eyelashes a little bit, because I'm just going on a straight line across. Rather than following that curvy up bit, I'm just going to go straight across. And then I'm going to miss out this middle bit, and I'm going to do exactly the same-ish on this side, where I'm going to put it on the outside there, and then I'm actually going to take it down here a little bit on the very outer corner, so that, because I'm trying to create my eye to be a little bit sort of bigger and longer than my eye actually is. So I'm going to put it almost on my lashes a little bit down here. Fake my eye shape. If this colour is light enough for you to be a highlight, then that's great, but it's a little bit not quite light enough for me, so I'm going to use the white as well and just go over it a tiny bit just to brighten it a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit more, because I'm so pale, so this doesn't quite look as light as I want it to. I don't want to just use the white because that's too unnatural. Now I'm going to go back in with the white and put it right in my inner corners, like over the top of everything. Right there in like a circular motion. And then finally I'm just going to do a little bit of this colour on up here, highlight a tiny little bit up here, just to finish it off. So before I do anything else with my eyes, now that all the powder on my eyes is done, I'm going to powder my face. You can hopefully tell my face is a lot less shiny than it was before, which means that it has dried down. That's not leaving any, what's the word? When you, can't remember what the word is. I'm going to just tap. I'm not going to blend it in with this sponge because that's going to be too much powder. I'm just going to apply a little bit with the sponge and then use the powder brush to get it everywhere. Just so that I've got minimal powder, but I'm still setting it, but just with not a lot of powder. Not going to bake because baking was one of the things in the other video that I didn't really like, because I just felt like it didn't do anything good for me, and it also made my under eyes feel kind of dry and tight. It's probably just because I'm using this powder, which isn't good for baking. Now it's time to finally use this bronzer, which is kind of the whole point of the video. And the way that I found that I like to use this best is with this big fluffy brush and swirl it around in the bronzer, tap off the excess, and then I'm just going to really sparingly go around with it, just with a really light hand. Kind of around the perimeters of my face, just to add some definition back in. And some warmth, because I feel like right now I look a little bit grey and ill. So I want to add in some life back into my skin. Can you see the difference there? This side has got the bronzer on, this side does not have any bronzer on, so this side just looks a little bit more three-dimensional. But I'm using this really fluffy powder brush because I just don't want it to be too heavy anywhere. I want to be able to really blend it out as much as I can. Now I'm also going to use this down my nose to see if I can do some successful nose contouring. Not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, but I will try. I'm going to just dab a little bit right down there. A really tiny bit. Buff it in a tiny bit. Right down there. Down the sides of my nose. Blend it out a little bit. Do you think that works? That is a very tiny bit, but I think that possibly worked alright. I'm going to blend that out. Blendy blend blend. Now I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of blush, and I'm just going to use this L'Oreal blush in the shade Nectarine. And just a really tiny bit, because I've already got bronzer on, so I don't want it to just look like a bunch of pigment on my face. But I just want to add some colour in. So I'm just going to use this big fluffy brush again. Really lightly diffuse it and go across my nose a little bit. I go across my nose because I feel like that's a much cuter look. And also going quite high up with this blush. It looks so weird. And then I'm going to blend it out. Blend it out, blend it out, blend it out. Okay, now to highlight even further, I'm going to use this sleek palette, and I'm going to use the orange shade. And I'm actually going to set my face a little bit. I'm going to spray my face with this L'Oreal Infallible Fixing Mist. Woo! And then I'm going to go straight in with the biggest brush in this orange colour and put a little bit there so that it sticks on. Woo! That's intense! I've used the setting spray so that the powder sticks to my skin. Also going to get this brush again, going with this for my inner corners. Going with this orange a little bit on the top of my eyes as well, so that my eyes match the glowiness, but not in the crease, just on the very top of the highest point of my eye. Now I'm going to finally go back to finishing the eyes. I'm going to curl them and use a waterproof mascara. So I've done quite a few coats of mascara, and I used a lash building mascara along with this 17 mascara. And the reason I use the 17 mascara is because the bristles are really spiky, so you can really separate your lashes out. And that in combination with a lash building mascara, this is the Maybelline Maybelline New York Big Eyes Volume Express. What is my voice today? Express mascara. So that's the lash building mascara on the top. And then used it for this one, and this is how my eyelashes have come out. They're quite big and intense. And I can get away with doing really big lashes and still look quite natural because I'm not doing any eyeliner. And just on the bottom lashes, I've done a tiny little bit of mascara using the Extreme Length Extend No. 7 mascara. A little sample size, that one. Now I'm just going to sharpen this brown eyeliner pencil. Make sure it's really pointy. And then I'm going to do some fake freckles. Just by very slightly twisting the pencil and then dotting it around. Blend it out a little bit with your finger, because when I personally go out in the sun, my freckles come out a lot more, they show up a lot more because of the sun. So I'm just adding them back in because they got a little bit covered up by my foundation. So I'm just adding them back in a little bit, very lightly. Also on my chin a little bit. Just with a really light hand, dotting this on. So that I add in some of my natural flaws, if that makes sense. And you see, I've got lots of freckles now. There are lots of techniques to doing freckles, but I just find that this is the quickest and easiest one. Not quite finished yet, because the last thing is lips. And not really sure which lip product I'm going to be using. I've done a few swatches on my arm, because I can't decide which one to use. I think the one that I'm going to use is this Baby Lips one. This is the Pink Punch Baby Lips. But the ones which are similar, there's this one from Collection, this lip butter in the shade 1 Popping Pink. Nope, I don't like that. I don't like that. Maybe I might try this one. I'm just going to use a bunch of pink shades on my lips until I can get it to a colour that I like. And that actually completes this look. That is the end of this look. I hope that you liked it. I've done this pink lip because this is the colour lip that Pak Bom has. It's not my personal favourite lip colour, so I'm probably going to test out some other lip colours in a minute. But yeah, this is basically the look. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helped, and I will see you some other time. Bye guys! I'm also going to try out an orange lip because of course I absolutely love orange. So to try out the orange lip, I'm going to use some of my favourite orangey stuff. So this is the Max Factor gloss in Posh Poppy. This is the Sleek VIP semi-matte lipstick in the shade Fancy Pants. This is the Apocalypse Rimmel London lip lacquer in the shade Luna. And this is the No. 7 High Shine lip gloss in the shade Tangerine Twist. So I'm just going to use sort of a combination of these until I get it how I want it. I think that possibly the pink lip looks a little bit better. For this look, I think the pink kind of brings out the bronziness a little bit more, but I still like the orange lips because obviously orange lips are my favourite. The other colours that I used there were No. 7 shade Deep Rose. Put it on for a bit more definition, and I also used the Maybelline Peach Poppy shade right in the middle just to give a little bit more of a 3D effect with my lips. But anyway, yeah, okay, that's it then. I hope you like this. Bye guys! I had to listen to that song because it has very, very slight connection to this makeup look, so had to. Excuses. Okay, bye for real now. Bye!